Cannabis is not a small addiction. In fact, because it doesn't kill you right away, it might be the more insidious. Any severe alcoholic knows about themselves. Wow, I'm either going to stop this or I'm going to die. The heroin addict, the cocaine addict, the methamphetamine addict, they're pretty clear that they have a problem. But it's the person who struggles with cannabis that is somewhere in between. And they really are not clear, neither that this is addictive, nor that it's problematic. And things have to go very far and very advanced, very quickly, for a human being usually to take notice and to change the course of their life. So what I see is people who are struggling with cannabis addiction are struggling to let it go because it's not completely destroying their life, although it is sapping them of their energy. So we have another brave soul here on In the Circle today. Megan is here with us. And Megan, I'm excited to hear what is on your mind and your heart today.
Hi, Tommy. Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I found your work about a year ago. I feel really thankful to have a mentor that heard me going through my process and had you as a recommendation. And not too long thereafter, you had a retreat here on the East Coast, which I had the opportunity to attend. And I'm now part of the Recovery 2.0 program. The sadhana practice has really been changing my life. And I guess I'm happy to kind of be a face and a voice to somebody that's been affected by addiction with what I'll call a pretty high, low bottom. Marijuana has been my dependency. And yeah, again, I just feel really thankful to have this space where we're all coming into a deeper realization of what's not serving us any further. I guess my big question for you and the hang up that I'm dealing with is that as soon as I have moved out of what my numbing technique is, which is marijuana, I am just struck with so much energy. And I've been really curious how to meet this. I don't want to use the word anxiety because I feel like it's something actually really deeper and more beautiful than that. It feels like this vitality, but there's also, I almost don't know where to put it or how to use it. I've been very compelled for movement and exercise, but I guess what I want to ask is this actually a further avoidance technique where it's a time where I need to sit and I need to still and I need to calm? I feel sometimes like an unwalked German shepherd, or I have this like, I almost have to run it out of me in some fashion. And I do think, there's the creative type and high energy. I think that's, again, what got me into numbing maybe at some points of my life. So if you could speak to that, I would appreciate that, Tommy.
Wow, Megan, I love this inquiry so much. You're having an awakening of energy. That's a beautiful thing. Naturally, when you, first of all, start to detoxify the body, the mind, ultimately the spirit as well, these channels are opening up. And it turns out you're a vital, energetic, very alive human being. And what an incredible thing to be. From what you describe, I don't see any of this as a mechanism for distraction or, it's such a beautiful thing to have energy. I also understand what it means to manage that energy, which is at the center of this inquiry. But please know that naturally, especially the practices that we're doing in Recovery 2.0, from the Kriya movements, the yoga practices, the Kundalini practices, the meditation practices, the breathwork practices, any of the chanting that we're doing, this is naturally going to have a profound effect on the mind-body system. Your endocrine system, which is the hormonal system of the body, the chemical system of the body, works very closely with the nervous system. And both of those systems are like coming very much online, and there's a lot going on. The visual I have in my mind, Megan, is a wire through which an electrical current goes. And the wire, they rate wires. Wires have a capacity, right? How much can they handle? How much electricity can go through the wire, and what can the wire handle before it just sort of blows, And so you've got I have this image of you upgrading your energy. So that's the electrical current is going through. At the same time, you're also engaged in practices that are upgrading the wire, what you can handle, what your capacity is as a human being, as an energetic electrical instrument. What are you able to actually handle? So on the one hand, there's this capacity building concept, and that's a very important concept in the realm of yoga. As we do our yogic practices, we can build the electrical current more than we are ready to receive that electrical current. So we want to be very mindful of creating a strong constitution that can handle a bigger current, because you've unlocked a bigger current in your newfound abstinence from cannabis, but also combined with these practices and all the things that you're doing. I want to say that for a moment. Cannabis is not a small addiction. In fact, because it doesn't kill you right away, it might be the more insidious. Anyone can see a severe alcoholic. Any severe alcoholic knows about themselves. Wow, I'm either going to stop this or I'm going to die. The heroin addict, the cocaine addict, the methamphetamine addict, they're pretty clear that they have a problem. But it's the person who struggles with cannabis that is somewhere in between. And they really, really are not clear neither that this is addictive nor that it's problematic. And things have to go very, very far and very advanced very quickly for a human being usually to take notice and to change the course of their life. So what I see is people who are struggling with cannabis addiction, or just, if they don't like that word, people who smoke cannabis or imbibe with it chronically, regularly, are struggling to let it go, because it's not completely destroying their life, although it is sapping them of their energy, taking away their ability to intuit, or their intuitive capabilities, also not building their capacity, not creating the possibility for to handle a greater current in this life. And so there's so many reasons to stop and not to make cannabis a lifestyle, but it's very hard for people to catch it. So the fact that you caught it, that you heard the call, that there was something in you that said, I want to see what's on the other side of this, it puts you in almost a more rare category than anybody else. So congratulations on that. It's really wonderful. I also struggled with cannabis for so many years. I loved it and got a lot out of it at first before I had an upgrade. But later on, it took a lot from me. And oh my goodness, was it hard to stop and to move beyond it. So I just wanted to say that to your comment that you had a very high, low bottom. So the management of energy at every level of our being also is, yes, on the one hand, movement, exercise, athletics, sure. Also, mentally being able to express and create. These are great uses of energy. Directing your concentration, your focus on something that's important to you, something heartfelt. So there's the physical aspect, but there's also the mental aspect. Spiritually speaking, there's this growing conversation and a growing capability, a greater access you're going to have to the infinite field of consciousness around you. And in that mystical conversation that takes place between you and the infinite field of consciousness beyond you, that conversation is going to be about collaboration, guiding, humility, being open to what presents itself. And I find that this is important because the spiritual collaboration with a power greater than oneself, with that infinite field, helps a person to access a greater level of wisdom, intuition, and to develop the capacity to know what to do with that kind of energy. So the physical piece of moving the body, of course, the mental piece of using your intellect and your creative powers, whether you're an artist or a writer or a chef or a cook or a gardener, or just that you're creating your life on a day-to-day basis in a conscious way. These are all forms of creativity. So put your power and your energy into the things that mean the most to you. You have a bigger capacity? Okay. Well, you have an opportunity to direct that capacity, to stabilize that energy also, and then to move from there. The stabilizing of the energy comes through the yogic practices, some specific that I'm not going to go into detail right now, but we can talk about it another time offline, hopefully on the next retreat if you come. And if not, you can always reach out to us at support@r20.com for any question like that. Just say question for Tommy and I'll get back to you about that. Okay. And then there's the whole connection with the planet Earth. The connection physically, meaning the part of your body that is on the earth. Right now, it's my feet. I'm in a chair. I'm inside, so my feet are on wood, on a wooden floor, but that wooden floor beneath there might be some concrete, and then beneath that, there's some wood. I'm sorry, there's some dirt, and there, the earth is there. So there's a connection point between me and the earth. After this is over, I can take my socks off and my shoes off, and I can go outside and put my feet onto the ground, and I can ground myself. I can also sit my butt right down on the ground. I can lay my whole body on grass and just lay down in prostration and connect to the earth and ground myself into it. I can lay down on my back, like in Shavasana at the end of a yoga class, and I can just ground down into her and feel this connection and feel the big energy in my body connecting with the planet and the planet responding and being in that relationship. As a further extension of what the planet offers us sustenance, food, water, also breath from the atmosphere. And so here we get into we could get into a very deep conversation about diet, how we nourish ourselves, not just what we're eating, but when we're eating, especially when we're not eating. Speaking about fasting regimens and different juice cleanses and different cleanse regimens that change the experience of being in the body and change the energy that you're experiencing. Many, many protocols out there for experiencing different kinds of energy and being able to direct your energy and control the energy to an extent through the food that you eat and when you eat it. most people eat for sedation or stimulation. That's what we would call that an addictive eating pattern. So I eat to get high, or I eat to get heavy and to ground myself, to sedate myself. Food and the relationship with food is so powerful when we start to shift that into I'm eating for energy, and I'm eating for the right energy. I'm eating for the right season, and I'm eating for what my needs in this body are. And that requires that we get in touch with this body in a way that we may not have been for a long time or perhaps ever. So all of those are things to think about the management of energy. If I can be bold, I'll also talk from a male perspective about the management of sexual energy and that very, very powerful primal energy, which is also a natural and beautiful part of our human existence. So as I have, speaking personally, so in my moments of awakening and periods of awakening where I've experienced the thing that you've experienced, I also have to manage that energy too. And I have found the greatest way to manage that energy is through creative processes like I spoke about earlier. Certain yogic practices, the elevation and transmutation of that energy up to the higher energy centers of the body, drawing that energy up to the heart center. And there's this sort of what I would call a sacred communion that takes place. Now, I'm being very bold, and none of these things I'm saying may be relevant for you, and I don't want to embarrass you in any way or go there. I'll just embarrass myself instead and talk about my own experience. And so that's that. I bring it up because I feel it's relevant. I feel that most people never want to talk about these things because there's so much shame associated with them. Therefore, since we don't get to ever talk about it, nobody ever learns how to manage that energy or what to do about it. And so as you spoke about bigger energy, I wanted just to bring that in, that's a part of when we have awakenings, we feel so alive and so vital. And we also want to manage and direct that energy as well. Especially we don't want to misuse it or use that energy for distraction or in any ways that are off center for us or for another. So those are some of the thoughts about the management of energy. Of course, the yogis have been speaking about this for thousands upon thousands of years as we speak about the concept of brahmacharya, which is really the management of one's energy, one's life energy. And so I congratulate you on this enlivening that you're experiencing. I'm so excited for you. I really want to encourage you to look at it as a gift and to ask the question of the infinite field around you. How shall I direct this energy today? How shall I elevate this energy today? What could be the best use of this energy today? Praying for the best possible outcome for the use of this energy today. And mostly to really be in the awe and the wonder of it, of the aliveness that energy communicates to you in being so enlivened in your life force, in your prana. It's just wonderful. I'm really, really excited for you, and I may it continue, and may you feel the ease and the comfort that comes from the management of it and the direction of it in creative and beautiful ways. Yeah. So Megan, please, some feedback on these concepts and what you're experiencing as you listen to this exploration.
Yeah. Well, thank you. First of all, I appreciate. Yeah, I think, these can be new scary roads of just learning how to manage energy, especially when we've, specifically turned to one crutch for so long. So getting to know ourselves back. Vitality, again, is the word that is kind of coming through for me. But I guess even just to hear that it's a normal part of the phase and the cycle of feeling fully.
Mm, mm. Another thing that comes to mind for me with regards to cannabis, cannabis always managed to shift my emotional state, for sure. So if I felt angry or stuck or frustrated or anything, I could really, really shift that immediately by smoking some pot. And I did thousands and thousands of times. So by the time I finally put that down and I had no ability to turn to cannabis to be the thing that would shift my emotional state any longer, then I felt at the beginning kind of a stuckness with whatever that emotional state was. As my body cleared, as my mind cleared, and the spiritual channels sort of opened up naturally, that shifted for me. And I started to develop the capacity to shift my emotional state because I had been given the tools, what I call the great upgrade of breath work and yoga and meditation, to shift my emotional state and to change and also to manage energy in the way we've been speaking about. So there is a nuance to cannabis and coming off of it that might be different than other, getting sober off of other things. There is a nuance there, and your emotional state is going to be really like awakening and awakening and awakening and coming online. And it's just the greatest process. But I found that cannabis gets so deep, and it takes a little while to psychologically detox from it and emotionally detox from it. And the energy will shift. And right now you're in this high energy state, and you could find yourself in a low energy state at another time. We don't know. But what we do know is that you're in this detoxification process, and you're learning so much about what it is to be without that now. And I encourage the continued inquiry and the continued journey. And I'm really excited for you.